Hey everyone, in today's video I'm taking a look at Dorfromantik by Lukas Zach and Michael Palm, published by Pegasus Spiele. This is a solo or cooperative game for 1 to 4 players where you're building a landscape and trying to score as many points as possible, unlocking new stuff to add to your game as you go. And before I start explaining how to play the game and share my thoughts on it, I'd like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button if you aren't subscribed already. And please also check out my Patreon page by clicking the link in the description below. And that will take you to my Patreon page where you can see how you too can support my channel, which is of course greatly appreciated. All right, let's check out what's in the box and set up a game. To set up a game of Dorfromantik, take all the task tiles, which are the tiles with this speech balloon on it, give those a shuffle and just put them down in a stack or in 2 roughly equal stacks if you prefer. And also mix up all of the landscape tiles, which are the tiles with the mill on the back, shuffle those, then take 3 tiles and without looking at them, return those to the box. They won't come into play in this game. And you can also, if you want, divide these over 2 or 3 equal stacks and just keep those at the edge of the gaming area. Then separate the 25 task markers face down and give them a bit of a shuffle. And all of these markers will have numbers on them ranging from 4 to 6. There's always 1 4, 2 5s, and 2 6s for each of these colors. There are also 5 tuck boxes in the game, but you don't open those until instructed, so just keep those in the game box for your first game. And that's the whole setup. Let's explain the rules. Dorfromantik is a game where you're trying to build a landscape as efficiently as possible. And all these landscape tiles have different terrain on them. You've got tiles with these fields on them. You've got tiles with forests. There's terrain tracks. There's rivers that you have to connect as well, like this. There's villages with these houses on them and all kinds of combinations thereof. So as you're drawing tiles, you're going to want to connect these and see if you can make a connected railroad or stream, and you're going to try and make like forests that are connected and villages, because those will score points at the end of the game. And you score those points by fulfilling tasks. So that's what these task tiles are for, and these tokens. So as you're playing, you will always need to have a minimum of 3 active tasks on the table. So that means that during the first 3 rounds of the game, whether you're playing solo or with a number of players, the first 3 tiles you draw are going to have to be task tiles. So let's say this is the first round, I draw this tile, and all of these task tiles have these icons on them, and they can be any of these 5 types and colors. So I draw a field here, and that means I take one of these without looking, of course. You just take one of these, flip it over, and then you'll see the number. That means I'm trying now to make a field that is exactly 5 tiles big. So my second turn will be this one, and that's a forest. I draw one of these, and this forest needs to be 6 tiles big. The other sides that are green, like here and here, are no land type, and you can connect these tiles any way you want. You don't have to always match them up. Of course, that will help with scoring. So if I connect this one to this forest, I'll have one edge here where I can continue that forest. Except for rivers and railroads, those always need to connect. So third player or third round, you draw another one. Here's a big forest, that's nice. So I draw another one, and they can be together. So let's see what this is. This is a 5, and I'll put that here, and it has forests on all sides. So now I can continue with that forest on any side of this tile. So now that there are 3 active tasks on the table, I get to draw a regular landscape tile. So the fourth player, or on my fourth turn, I draw a tile from the landscape stack. I flip it over. There's a rail here. So I can't connect it like this, for example, because that would not connect the rails. But I can, of course, put it down like this or like this, but that would close off the field on this side. I want to keep my options open and maybe also my field or my forest options open here. So I'm going to put this track here on the outside. Next turn, I draw another landscape tile. Hey, there's another forest, but also a track. Okay, so maybe I want to put that over here. So now you see that this side of the forest connects to just grass on this side, but that's okay because it's not a track or a river. So I still have 3 active tasks. I'll draw another landscape tile. Here's a forest, a river, and a village. So I could connect that here, for example, although that would make this tile perhaps difficult. There are tiles in the game that have a crossing between a track and a river, but there's not that many, and the more you play the game, the more you will kind of remember the types of tiles that are in the game. So I might want to play it a bit safer and put this river here. So now I have completed this task because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles with a connected forest. So this tile now scores. So you just take it off of your board and you keep it somewhere to keep track of the points you've earned. And the game comes with a scoring pad that has all of these types on it, and these are your tasks. There are also flags which you can also score, and that's these tiles that you also shuffle into these landscape tiles. They also have a windmill on the back, and when you place those, you want to close off the area of that given type. So for example, with this one, if I place this one on a field, and that means if I close off this field with another tile here that would close this one off, then that field would score me the size of that field. So I count the tiles that this flag is on. So in this case, it's just 3, and I would score 3 points for the field flag tile. So you're gonna want to make those as big as possible. There's also one for villages and one for a forest. So if I drew this on my next turn and I placed it here, for example, or well, I can't place it here because then the river wouldn't continue. I can also put it here, so maybe I want to do that. So I'm going to put it here. So now I have this forest, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I score this one as well. I keep it, I usually just keep it on my scoring pad. And then if I manage to close off this forest on a later turn, I will also score for that flag. So there's tasks for all 5 of these types. And remember that every time I finish a task, I need to draw a new one. So after I've completed this first one, I should have drawn another tile from this stack. So I got a river here. So, well, you know, maybe I want to put that here, and then I draw one of these tiles. Boom, put it out. You draw them first and then you decide where to put them because that might influence your choice. But I didn't have that much choice, so I'm just gonna put it there. And then of course, after I completed this one, I needed to draw another one. So here's one with a village. And I draw another task tile here. So a village that's 5 tiles big. There's a lot of options here. So I may want to also put this one over here and connect it like that. And now that there's 3 active tasks, once more, I can continue drawing from these piles again. And here's another river. So I could put this here, and I'm now actually making this forest even bigger, which might be nice for this flag, but I do need to close it off, and there's still 2 open sides here and an open side here. So after the task tiles are gone, you can freely continue to grow a forest or any other area, but you can't connect a task tile to an area that's already bigger than the task requires. So let's see if I can find another forest tile. Let's have a look. So here, for example, we have a forest tile. I'll draw one of these that says a 5, had I completed something else, of course. and I want to put that, let's say, over here to connect to this forest. I couldn't do that because this forest requires 5 tiles, and this is already a lot bigger than that, so I can't put it here. So that means I'll have to create a new forest for completing this task. But it is entirely possible to place a tile with a task and immediately complete it if you connect it to the exact required number of tiles, counting the tile itself as well. Now let's say this is a situation and I'm drawing a tile, because there's 3 active tasks. I'm drawing a landscape tile and I want to put this one here, because that would complete my forest of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I could remove this task. But that would also cancel out this one, because I would make this forest of a size of 2 into 6 in one move. And that means I can't score that one. So normally you wouldn't be allowed to do that because you can't score this, but I can score that one. So in that case, I am allowed to do it, score this one, but I'll have to return this one to the box and this will never be scored. Had that second tile also been a 6, then I would have scored both at the same time. So you just continue building your landscape until you run out of landscape tiles, and the game ends immediately when you are required to reveal a landscape and there's no more available. But should I happen to complete a task that's on the table, so let's say, okay, imagine that this is of course a lot bigger, and I draw my last landscape tile and I place it like this and I score both of these, then that means I technically don't have 3 tasks on my landscape, and even though I don't have any landscape tiles left, I still might have tasks left, and that means I can still continue drawing task tiles and put a token on it, and I just continue playing until I can no longer complete tasks. So as long as placing a new task tile will complete a previous one, I could theoretically continue playing, but that's usually not the case. So then you take your scoring pad and you simply add up all the points of all the colors and you fill them in here for your tasks. Then you look at your flags and you check which of those are completed, so territories that have been completely closed off. You count how many tiles are in that territory and fill them in here. You also count your longest railroad track and your longest river. You fill that in here. You add up all the totals and then you check your total score. And later in the game, you will also unlock all kinds of new achievements that will also score points for you. So you just check off the boxes of the achievements that you've unlocked, and then you can also fill in the score at the end of that game and add those up here. Those add to your total score. And that's when you take your campaign sheet here. So here you will say, this is the start of the game. You will check how many points you scored. So here it says from 0 to 99. You're a vagabond. You can check off one of these circles. So you start here and you check off the first circle. If you scored 2 because you got 100 or more points, you can check off the second one as well. And as soon as you reach this hexagon, you can open box 1. So that means you take this box from the game box, you open it up, take the contents, and it will instruct you on what to do with them. Usually they get some new tiles or some new cards with achievement written on them, some additional tokens, and you add those to your game and they will allow you to score even higher scores. Which means that your next game you might get even more of these circles to tick off, and it doesn't matter how many you tick off. If you don't reach the next hexagon, you just play another game and you just keep score of how many of these circles you get to tick off. And you decide which path you take and which of these additional achievements you unlock. And as you can see, the first 2 boxes are simply unlocked at the start of the campaign as you play. But the other 3 boxes are unlocked when you reach certain other achievements, which will be clear as you play the game. And then you can just choose a path and unlock whatever you like. And you can keep track of all of your achievements by taking off these boxes here. And those are all the rules for playing Dorfromantik. Let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on Dorfromantik the Board Game by Pegasus Spiele. As always, let's start with the components. So the tiles are of a nice standard thickness quality, and the size is good. They're not too small to be fiddly, and they're not too big to take up too much space, because you are going to build a relatively big area on your table. So you do need a large surface to play on, but it's all very doable and they look nice. The print on them is very clear as well. You get these notepads with plenty of sheets for scoring, and they are double-sided. And you can always, if you need to, laminate a few, but I think there's plenty. And same with the campaign sheet. There's plenty of those, and you only need one basically for playing through the entire game, so you can play through it a lot of times. So that is all well, and the tokens are of the same quality as the tiles and also very clearly color-coded. So that all looks good. I do like the little tug boxes that you get with the mystery unlock stuff inside them. They all have a different color as well. And everything has its own spot in the insert of the box, which I've taken out since the box is over there. And everything has its own spot, so that works. There's even room enough for the mini expansion that comes in Dorfromantik the Duel. So there's a little mini expansion in there with additional achievements that you can add to your game, which is also a lot of fun. The artwork is good. I like the box art a lot. I like the art on the tiles. Looks very cozy and friendly. I like the, like the streams, the forests, the little houses. Sometimes there's like people here and there or other little things. The railroads are fun, although they look very shoddy. The railroad tracks look like they've been made by a very drunk engineer, because I would not recommend driving a train over those tracks, but it looks comical. The only thing I wish they could have put more detail in is the fields. The fields look very bland. They're just yellow with darker yellow stripes and like brush strokes, and that's it. There's no detail in them. Whereas the forest, you can clearly see trees, and the houses are clearly houses, and there's all kinds of different ones, and there's enough variation on the tiles that looks interesting. But the fields are just yellow swaths of paint, and yeah, could have done more with that, I feel, but otherwise the art is very lovely. The theme is nice as well. As with many tile laying games, you're building an area, you're building a landscape, like in Carcassonne, small islands, beacon patrol. You're building this landscape with all these different areas in them, and it just looks really nice top down. And I do like that they're hexagonal tiles. It's different than others where they're often square, and it just offers a lot of variety. You can go a lot of ways with these tiles, trying to maximize your score. So thematically, it's very, very nice looking, and I think that works really well for this game. The gameplay is just very fun, relaxing. It's a solo or cooperative game. I would say you could play with two very nicely, 3 or 4. I don't really see me playing this game with more than one other person, to be honest. And solo, I think, is just the most fun for me personally, because you're just sitting there relaxed, puzzling it out, thinking, where should I put this? And you're trying stuff out. You can take as long as you want and try to optimize your layout. And that's just a lot of fun. It's very cozy. Very satisfying to put those tiles down, especially when you're building out in several directions and you find the tile that just fits in that spot that you haven't filled in yet, because you were hoping for that tile to pop up, because at some point you will know which tiles are in here and which ones are already on your area. on your landscape, and you're looking for that one tile that has this or that configuration, and you just know it's there, so you're hoping it's not one of the three that you blindly took out at the start of the game, because that can happen. But that's just a lot of fun and very satisfying. It's also satisfying to just complete those tasks and then, you know, put them on your scoreboard and get a new one. What new task are we getting? Oh, look, it's this or that. And how many points is that going to be? Well, that's 6. That's big. That's a big field that I need to make. So let's put that somewhere where I can, you know, grow it. And oh, there's a track here, so I better put it here. And then I have this area to grow that field. So that's a lot of fun. It's just fun. And best of all, you can't lose. You can't lose. All you're trying to do is to maximize your score. And it's also very satisfying to then check that off on the campaign sheet and see how far you get and see how much points you're making if you did better than the previous game. The replayability is good. Basically, when you play through the campaign, you are playing the same game, but new stuff gets added. You unlock boxes and you get more achievements. If you have the mini expansion from Dorfromantik the Jewel, you have even more achievements you can do. And that just keeps the game interesting. You know, more stuff to add, more stuff to unlock. And it's also very satisfying to unlock something. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And once you play through the whole thing, you've replayed this so many times already, basically, that you feel, you know, like you've had the full experience, but then you can just restart with a new sheet, reset everything, and go again if you want to. So, you know, I think playing through this once is already a lot of fun, but it doesn't end there. You can play this as many times as you enjoy it. And finally, there's the language dependency. Of course, this game is fully language independent because you just have tiles with landscapes on them. You have little tokens with numbers on them. They're all color coded and they have their own icons. And that just works very well. You just need to learn the rules. And there is some text on the score pads, but once you know what that is very clear and simple. So I would say, yeah, this is definitely a language independent game. Anyone can play this. So in the end, it's a very light, fun, puzzly game. It plays like a puzzle, but in this case, you can put the puzzle pieces any way you want to, and that's just a lot of fun. I can definitely recommend this game, giving it 2 thumbs up, and I'd like to thank Pegasus Spiele for sending me a copy to review. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please also give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and please also check out my Patreon page if you'd like to support my channel, and you can do so starting from just €1 per month, and you get all kinds of cool perks with that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.